Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Shitty area.
It's Yoshi.
All right, so this
standing on your head.
silence, please. This is the public portion for the general staff meeting on the Minecart Rapid Transit server for September 23rd, 2017. This is one of the longest GSMs we've had in a while. A lot of topics. Most topics, but also several serious and deep topics, I will say. There was a lot of discussion. So I'm going to go straight into it right now. I guess I'll talk about a little bit about this. The first topic we talked about was some... There's going to be I'm going to have a very frank conversation here. The discussion about how staff interact with members on the server. Some people have brought up some concerns, and I will tell everyone that we are listening to it, and we do see that there is some room for improvement with regards to how we communicate with staff and that. So, particularly, I know some members are a little reluctant to talk with staff. We want to make sure that this does not happen. So again, we'd like to encourage you that, yeah, if you want to talk to staff, don't be afraid to do so. It's better to talk to us about any issues you're having or any problems. Some of us may be having bad days, or some of us may respond to you in a terse manner. But again, please understand that that's just the way people are. We're all humans. All of us have our own bad days. If you're encountering a person who is having a bad day, it might be better to just ask them at a later time or at a more convenient time. So please consider that. So yeah, again, if you have concerns, let me know. The open floor at the end of this GSM is a good time to talk about this. So if you have any concerns about that, please raise your hand in that section, and we'll have a conversation about it. Next up, I'm going to talk about the city review process for senators, governors, and premiers. I know there's been a lot of concerns about it. For the last few batches, we've had several problems with it. We've moved to a sort of once a month sort of thing, and we're finding that staff are not voting, or they're just neglecting to vote. Some of it's, again, people have real life or work to do, or school, or whatnot. One thing that we will do to try to help this is the amount of detail that the staff put into their feedback for the cities that they evaluate. So, for example, the feedback that they write is I'm really impressed with the feedback that's been written so far. It's very detailed, but I think some of it's actually too much, to the point when I think what happens is some staff write all that needs to be said, and then the other staff don't really have much to add. So what we're going to do is I'm going to encourage staff to, when they're writing feedback, put it perhaps in the more point-based form, so like bullet points, or they'll go with what we're naming the Narnia style of feedback, where you just say what you liked about the town, what you didn't like about the town, and what can be improved. So it'll be up to staff to choose which way they want to do it. I'm not going to enforce it, but basically I want to discourage staff from writing humongous long paragraphs or essays on that feedback form, because while it is detailed and helpful, it may not be as helpful as they think. So that we are going to still continue doing once a month for now. However, the voting period is going to encompass the whole month, so there'll no longer be a voting period of 2 weeks. Instead, it'll go, for example, the next batch will start on October 1st, and voting will end on October 30th. There was discussion about maybe going back to 2 months, but we feel that's too long for people to wait to get promoted. So. And I'll also throw this in as well. Starting at the next batch, we're going to do Premier we're no longer going to consider the premier promotion or premier candidates in the batch itself. We're going to do them at the GSM. Mainly because we can do it because there's less candidates, and also because of these cities are higher profile. We feel that we can probably be able to do them within a GSM. The whole reason we moved them away from the GSM is they were just taking too long. But yes, so once again, starting at the next GSM, we'll be actually considering premier candidates at the GSM and not in the batch. So if you want to be considered for premium, you would still submit it through that city rank promotion form. I think I'll skip 1C.
Sorry guys, my PC just crashed.
Yeah, 1D. Okay, one thing I will, moving on, one thing I will mention, I'm not sure if it's in the public portion here. Okay. So, there was a topic in the private portion about wiki page edit wars that have been happening on the server. I would like to remind everyone that anytime that they see any sort of argument happening on the wiki, or perhaps on any other place like the Discord, for example, again, please do not escalate the situation. And that includes interjecting yourself into the argument or continuing the argument. If you see that situation happen, don't engage. Go tell a staff member, and they will deal with it accordingly. I will say, I'm a bit disappointed to see that people are arguing on players' user talk pages on the wiki. That should not be happening. And if we see that happen again, we will be issuing warnings. So consider yourself notified of that. Yoshi, I think your mic's a little. Yeah, can you mute yourself maybe for now? It might be your laptop, maybe. Okay. Moving on. Now to a bunch of little topics regarding just some additions to like server mechanics and commands and stuff. We have a proposal from LD Shadowlord to reinstate a kick of 1 hour of being AFK. We're going to improve this and actually go even farther than this. This kick will also apply to staff. So if and to be specific, unvanished staff. So if a staff is vanished, the AFK doesn't apply to them. So again, so any members or unvanished staff that are AFK for 1 hour will be automatically kicked from the server, and I will implement that. That should be, I'll change the configurations, and that should be enabled by the next server restart. We considered adding /I command for fireworks from another proposal from Mike Roma. This has been denied, mainly because obviously I can be used to get other items. We would suggest some alternatives like using the hotbars for creative mode instead, or using ender chats. Yeah. Moving on to 1H, enabling speed for members, also proposed by Mike Roma. This is going to be approved. However, what's going to happen is there's going to be a speed limit for members, just to make sure that they don't load and unload too many chunks while flying around. So the speed limit will be set to 3 for now, normal speed being 1. So members will be allowed to use the speed command and do /speed 3. That applies to flying or walking speeds. Moderators and up will be able to use speed at any speed, though they won't have much reason to use them unless in certain circumstances. Moving on also to 1I, from Crazy Rocket Guy, a proposal to add /back. This will not be implemented. The reasons are to prevent people from getting access to any sort of, say someone gets teleported by staff to a restricted area, they can always use back to come back to that. So we're going to not enable this back command for this reason. Finally, I would like to talk about the TPS issues that have been happening on the server. We have done a bit of investigation. We believe it has something to do with basically hoppers in hoppers, or basically any sort of container within a container. It's basically an NBT sort of little glitch that happens. We did find one on the lab world, and that was when that was removed, the TPS recovered dramatically. So we're pretty sure that's one of the causes of it. We're still investigating the one cause that's happening in the mail center right now. Thomas Fife is looking at it right now. I'm going to look at the beta server and try to set up an environment to test that as well. So we'll be looking at it over the next week or so. I will note that the mail center is not the only cause of this issue. There have been reports of the TPS dropping even when no one is even near the mail center. So we are still investigating that, and we will let you know when we've fixed that. Okay, moving on to moderator nominations. We did have a discussion of a few of them there. I would like to congratulate Mindman for accepting, or being the first candidate to accept. So Mindman is our newest trial mod. I will note that there's one other candidate who is not here right now, and I will not announce that person's name until that person has actually accepted the position. So hopefully in the next day or a few days or so, you will have news of that. Okay, moving on to roads. There's a lot of roads in this GSM that there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 proposals. I'm just going to list them right now. First up, the B752 proposed by Sesh Penguin, that has been approved. The B4 proposed by Robin, or just Robin Ho. This has been partially approved. Only the western section of his ring road will be approved. The B50, B4. Are you guys journalists? Are all writing the press is writing it. This is weird.
Yep.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. I'll go slower.
This has been happening since like the 2015 staff meetings from.
I'm a little okay. I'll go a little slower. For the B52 proposed by Submerged Subway, this has been approved, but the name of the highway needs to be changed. So because there's already a B52. So yeah, I don't have any details of where these roads exactly go. Most of these B roads are within their own towns. So like for example, Sesh Penguins goes to his town of Pixel. So next up is the A80 proposed by the United Cities Road Committee, or specifically PTLD. This has been approved. Also the A8 extension going up to the A80, or near there, also proposed by the UC Roads Committee, that has been approved. I mean, the rest of these things are approved too. So B1903 proposed by Cam NMM, that has been approved. The A50, A507, and A51 in Shillerton, proposed by yours truly, Chief, has been approved. All of them approved. And the Jangwa Kilpina Road, proposed by Lithium X, that has been approved as well. So essentially, all the roads have been approved except Robbins, which has been partially approved. So, and there's a whole, okay, so there's that. Next up are projects. First up is Autobus's extension of the rail link to Pixon. This has approved after I discussed with Baron about what had happened with the initial rail line. Otto, since you're here, I will caution you again, this line cannot be built on top of the MRT line, and any further extensions should not be built on top as well. So,
I'm aware I've already sent that in the proposal for this as well, so don't worry about that. It's not going to happen further.
Okay. Next up is the Frieden Silverwood International Airport, proposed by Soso123. We had some issues with this proposal because, well, basically Soso said the airport's going to be, it was too vague. He proposed an area, but he basically said it'll be somewhere in this area rather than actually specifying the actual size of the airport. So, will need to, he won't need to wait till the next GSM for this, but he will need to send us more details about where exactly his airport's going to be. And when he can just email staff about that. And if staff approve, then he can commence construction. 4C is the Central City Road redo proposed by Seppo, which was a weird proposal because he's proposing to repave all of the Central City roads with black concrete. This has been denied kind of on both fronts because Seppo can't, without moderator, really do it himself. And also we have no plans to replace the roads in Central City at this time. So next up is the Shillerton Cannon River Canal by Chief. This has been approved. And finally, we have the Canto River widening proposed by Camel Fantasy. Actually, this is actually not incorrect in the minutes, but it's only the red portions on the map in the proposal have been approved. The rest can be reproposed at a later date. Moving on to auctions, there are only 3 auctions in this one. First up is Downs View ZS21, proposed by 34 Links 72. This has an approved base. This has been this has been conditionally approved. We would like to ask 34 Links to talk to Time to Make My Move first, which may be online right now. To see if he's okay with it, because Time's town of... Does anyone remember the name of his city? Venceslau is actually closer to ZS21. So if Time wants ZS21, then he can send his own proposal in. If Time is okay with it, then the town will go to 34 Links 72. So next up is C47. Mervyn Nang wants this. I think we said no to this, didn't we?
Yeah, we said no.
I think, Thomas, you might have misheard this one. Yeah.
Which one, sorry?
5B, C47. We actually said no to this.
Okay, did you come back to that one, I think, or?
We did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So actually, this has been rejected because for some reason there was a miscommunication. Mervyn thought that the owner of V28, a nearby town or a nearby town, was owned by a different member, but actually the member that owns it is actually very active. So Mervyn will have to. Who is the owner of V28? Just jog my memory, staff.
Two-turn Julia?
Yeah, two-turn Julia, Reindeer Julia, also known as. So Mervyn Nang will have to talk to two-turned Julia, the mayor of V28, before we can approve C47, because again, they have as much of a claim on that city as he does. And finally, F4I4, proposed by Mike24Dude. I'm sure he's going to express a sigh of relief because this has been approved after being submitted so many times. However, on the condition that he fixes his land scarring, because I looked around in that town and there was a big land scar and I was not happy. So don't make me mad. So. And well, at least the last part of the private portion, there are a few more announcements I want to go through, is that we do have a date for the next GSM. We actually have it pre-scheduled. So the next GSM in the month of October will be on Saturday, or actually Sunday? Let me double check. Nope, Saturday, October 28th. So if anyone asks or keeps asking when the next GSM is, that is the answer. You can stop pestering about it because that's when the next GSM will be. Okay. There's a few more additional announcements I want to go through. I'm just going to back to the agenda here. So
I just want to mention quickly that the GSM after the October one is likely to be in the Asian Australian time zone, just so we can kind of, you know, get the other staffers involved.
Yeah.
Was that journalists?
Yep. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. Thanks, Thomas. So November GSM, most likely, hopefully. We're gonna. I've been talking about it for a while, but I want to be sure to include people like Lala or Alec and now Mindman in these meetings. So I'm gonna try to change the time of that meeting to better fit people in those time zones. So yeah, more details will be probably announced by the October GSM. People in chat are telling me to turn around, but I still have a bunch of announcements to go through, so no, I'm not going to do that yet.
God dang it, Yoshi, you crashed my PC.
Okay, moving on. There's a few more announcements. We would like to clarify people regarding the 10-minute world edit rule. And just to clarify, the 10-minute world edit rule says that if a mod has just joined the server, it's good courtesy to wait at least 10 minutes before asking them for world edit. Hopefully now that because we're adding so many mods, hopefully this won't become too much of an issue. But even then, we would like to, again, remind you to be patient, to be respectful of the staff's time, because again, they're not just here to do world edits for you or do that, you know, just do your requests. They do want to work on their own projects and do their own thing as well, because we're all trying to have some measure of fun in our own ways here. So again, reminder of people: if a staff member has just joined the server, do not ask them for any requests until the 10 minutes are up.
Another point on that note as well is that as well as world edits, like the courtesy kind of applies to all staff requests. So if you so it kind of still applies if you want to get your town reviewed for mayor or something like that. So it's just general code.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to get a link for this next part, so I want to just point it out to everyone. Oops, sorry. Okay, I've pasted in-game and on Mumble a link to the ranks page. I'd want to point out to everyone of a new section on the ranks page, and I think it's been I used to have a section like this, but for some reason it got removed. It's a section on how how staff are chosen on the server. There have been a lot of questions and a lot of ambiguity about how we do this. So please go look at that section. It's near the bottom, and it basically outlines all the qualities that we're looking for in a moderator and all the qualities that we don't look for in a moderator, and also a little bit on administrators as well. So whenever you have questions about, you know, why did I get chosen as a staff member, or why someone else didn't get chosen as staff member, please look at this, or staff will point to, or I will point to this thing here, and hopefully that will reduce the amount of questions about that. Like for example, I'll mention them right here. We don't look for, when we look at moderators, we look at the merits of a person rather than how much time they've spent on the server or how much experience they have. We want to look for mature players who actually have friendly personalities on the server. And having Mumble or Discord is a nice to have, but it's not been a required thing, especially with moderators that we've chosen in the past. If we do ask you to be a moderator, we would ask you to be more active on Mumble, or specifically. But it's not a hard requirement. And I will mention thing about administrators. I do know that it's been a long time since I've chosen another administrator. I've been trying to contact with Tom and Baron about scheduling the next ASM. I'm hoping that'll happen in the next, at least before the next GSM. From that meeting, I'm looking to at least promote at least two new admins, considering we have a new pool of mods to choose from. But again, that'll be a decision between me and the existing admins. So. Two more announcements I want to make before we go to the open floor. One is this: there is a new status page. Actually, I'll post a link to that one as well. Hold on. This is actually something I programmed myself as a little project. It actually does access the Minecraft server and the Mumble server in real time. So the player numbers and versions that you see there are real time. And as soon as any of these services go down, like say the website becomes unresponsive or the Minecraft server, you can't connect to it, it'll actually change and say that. It will actually change to say no service. So anytime you notice that's, you're noticing lag or any sort of, you think something is down, please check this page first. That's the whole reason I made it in the first place. Do this before you go bother people in chat or bother people in Discord about whether you're lagging or whatnot. So yeah, I'm actually kind of pleased that there's 25 people on the server right now. It's actually showing everybody on there. And of course, a reminder, this thing does show vanished staff members. And there's actually, I've been notified there's actually a bug in game that actually shows vanished staff members as well. Please do not bother these vanished staff members, otherwise you may be given a warning. So, yeah. And finally, the last thing I want to announce is a reminder that there is a full New World Dynmap render that's going to be starting on technically Monday, 4 a.m. UTC. So for people on Pacific Coast, that's 9 p.m. PDT after the server restart, or 12 a.m. EST there, or EDT. So yeah, after the server restart, the new world will be rendered. The server will lag. That's pretty much a guarantee. The TPS will probably drop to maybe like 15 or 16 generally. Please don't complain about the lag. There's nothing we can do about it. Again, I want to try to be able to do this render as quickly as possible, so there's no real pausing of this at all. And again, no world edits will be allowed during this time. You can build, you can chat, but no world edits. And I think I'm pretty much done, unless staff, if you can think of anything I've missed. Okay, all right. So now begins the open floor and Q&A. Oh, sorry.
The editor's hub on the wiki page.
Yeah, I can quickly mention that.
Yeah. Let people know in case they see it in progress.
Yeah, in case they just see it on suddenly on there. Thomas, actually, are you gonna try to fill? You were said you're gonna fill around with that, right?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do this at some point this week. Basically, we were discussing something about sort of towns and wiki pages, and we'd like to encourage sort of wiki pages to be made for the more well-known towns, and that goes towards anything on the server. And we already have the editor's hub, which kind of lists a few of those pages, but the editor's hub is it's kind of off to the side. It's not really well known, so we're thinking of sort of integrating that into the front page of the wiki. I'm not sure how it's going to be done, but it's probably going to be, it's either going to take over the messages from staff or kind of complement it. We think currently the messages from staff is kind of redundant since the website and the Twitter exist. So I'm probably just going to try out something on the front page, see what works, and then I'll probably, if you want to leave feedback on it, you can use the talk pages and stuff like that. So just in case you see something going on there.
Cool.
Then,
yeah.
So yeah, put the editor's hub on there, and that should hopefully sort of bring attention to that more often.
Cool. And yeah, don't freak out when you see changes on the main page, because we're going to experiment on that and all that stuff. Actually, that comes back to another point I forgot. Regarding wiki pages, I know there's a tendency for people to think that they own wiki pages, or like if you own the page for your town. Again, I'd like to remind everyone that's not the point of the wiki. If someone else wants to make a page for a town that they don't even own, but this page doesn't exist, that's totally fine. The point of the wiki is for everyone to contribute and make, adjustments or updates to information, and make sure and try to make the information as accurate as possible. So please don't be too possessive about your pages going forward.
Does this mean that Marble Day will actually get a wiki page?
If you want to make one.
If you want to make,
like, every time someone tries to make it, we'll delete the page.
Stop deleting it.
Yeah, it actually came up with Robin. Robin used to do that, but now that Robin understands that that's not how the wiki's supposed to work, then yes, you can go ahead and make that page.
To remove like incorrect information. That's about it though.
Okay. Any other announcements? Anything? Okay. So
We'll turn around.
no. So this begins the open floor and Q&A. So if you have any questions or concerns, please PM me either in-game or Mumble. Please do not post the whole question because I'm not going to remember it. Just say that just basically raise your hand, say you have a question or comment or whatever, and I will put you on a list. And then when it's your turn, I will call on you. So please send in your requests. Okay, Yoshi wants me to turn around because he needs to leave soon, so hold on. Can't even get out.
Just break it, it's barrier block.
It's barriers.
Fly up. Crumple, fly up.
It's a Chiefy!
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just sitting
Why
in
do
the
I
office
have
and
a
I'm like,
feeling that in three GSMs, this face will be larger than the height limit if we continue adding 1 block per pixel every time?
I promise I was.
We're gonna have to go in the lab world just so we can get the height to fit the face in.
I mean, that can be doable.
Yeah, but then Frumpo would have to teleport into the lab for us to see the face.
Hey guys, it's
Stop the
Omicron now.
point.
It's Omicron.
Lol.
I think that's about 3 staff members there, isn't it?
Anyway, moving on to the open floor. Oh, another one here. One sec.
There's buttons.
Okay, I have 4 people online here. So first up is Mike Roma. Melon. I think you're muted, Melon.
Wait, oops, I muted my mic, oops.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
my question was, will /u ever be added to the supported benefits list on the website?
Sure, why not? I mean, I kind of added it on a whim, so I could do that. Sure.
Everyone keeps forgetting about it.
That's true. I mean, it's kind of supposed to be kind of a hidden. It was supposed to be kind of a hidden added feature that sort of threw in when we went to Epsilon. So, yeah. Yeah, the website is, as you probably know, it needs a bit of TLC. I'm still actually working on the new member application forum, which is hopefully going to be a little bit cleaned up, and that'll also coincide with a bunch of website updates. So, yeah, I'll get around to it someday, maybe. If I forget, just keep asking me about it. Anything else? Melon?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Otto, you're up next.
Okay, so I had a few questions actually. The first one, you know that /I for fireworks. Fireworks actually has a lot more options to make fireworks more complicated using I. That was a note I wanted to make. And secondly, I'm pretty sure you should be aware, but still I'd like to say it. You can enable I only for certain item IDs by including the point and the item ID after the punishing note.
Yeah.
So that means it would be perfectly possible to enable I just for the item ID for fireworks.
Firstly, as far as we're concerned, it's just as easy to actually just keep a firework on a saved hotbar.
The thing with
Or
I
in the
is for fireworks is that it, instead of just allowing people to get fireworks, it also allows people to assign certain variants and combinations that aren't possible by default.
But
so there's actually a compelling argument to try to incorporate I. You
Once
can
again, though,
incorporate
you can't,
more things into one firework.
Once again, which is another thing from heads. The saved hotbar thing is a cross your whole client, so we can't.
No, that's not what I said.
Yeah, but we can't stop you from making a firework in a single player world, putting that in a saved hotbar, and bringing it in on the MRT. We can't do anything about that.
Yes, but that would still be a huge go around. Well, it's very simple to add the permission node for a single item in for /I.
It does require me time to figure out those permissions and test it out and make sure that it doesn't allow other kinds of items. So I will say that I will try to do that on the beta server if I have time, and then test it out. And if it's okay, then we'll roll it out on the main server. I will be testing things on the beta server pretty soon, I think. Probably end of next week, because we're trying to figure out the TPS issues and also try to update to 1.12.2 pretty soon. So
you still need to add slash speed to us.
Sorry.
Yeah,
my girl might give him time. He's trying to doing this. He's kind of doing this now.
Yeah, it's been approved. It's not live yet.
Again, I'm busy doing the announcements right now. I said I will do the speed when I get to it. So particularly the speed limit is not even enabled and requires a server restart. So definitely by the server restart in about 6 hours, I think things should be all enabled by then.
Okay, then secondly, I had two questions actually. It's been a notice for me that it's actually fairly hard to access the wiki quality guide page for quality of wiki articles. I know it's not an official thing, but it's still very convenient if people could access it easier, because I've seen people ask for it, and I've tried to scramble to find it myself as well multiple times.
If you go into
Would it be possible to add it back to the editor's hub, or whatever's going to happen to the editor's hub?
It's the stone, gold, diamond quality page, right?
Yes, including the instructions on what the criteria are for it.
I will come out and say right now, I'm not a big fan of that quality page. I don't think it's very accurate. It's very subjective. I mean, if someone wants to, I don't know if Thomas is going to look at the editor's hub. If you guys want to add it back onto that page, like, I'm okay with it. But I'm just saying right now, it's not. I'm not a big fan of it, that page. So, Thomas, would you be willing to add it back on that page?
Sorry, I just missed the start of that. Which page were you talking to?
There's a page that outlines all the qualities, or at least the list of. Is it the list of pages or the description of qualities?
It is the description of the qualities, including a statistic bar to what amount of pages that meet certain quality standards that are marked.
Okay.
Maybe Otto, if you PM Thomas that link.
Like message me just to get me up to date. I missed out completely on that one.
No sure. Right now or after GSM?
Yeah, you want?
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for answering the two questions I had.
Okay, cool. Time and Fred, I've got you in the list here, so I'm not sure how Time. I don't think Time 2 is in this channel anyway. Okay, so next up is PTLD.
Frumple, as Winter Storm Eris comes down on Catania, I have a question. What will the MRT government do to help families in Catania rebuild after this devastating winter storm?
Serious questions only, please.
Well, non-serious question will get a non-serious answer. The MRT government will be doing absolutely nothing because Winter Storm Eris does not exist. It's fake.
Yet. I mean, that was actually a fairly serious answer.
It's bigly fake.
It's fake news made
Hashtag
up
fake
by
news.
SBS.
Next
So,
question.
are you saying that within the next 24 hours, when tons of snow is dumped on Catania, it is indeed not there? Do you?
Oh, it'll be there. It'll be artificial, made by a certain kitty cat 11231. So.
No, it's fake
But
snow.
it was my
It's
idea.
the best fake snow.
disputes those
It's the
claims,
best fake snow.
Also, it was
Sorry.
my idea.
Anyway, moving on. Who's the next person here? Skelly. Skelly, you're up next.
Skelly Zomperman.
19 would like to ask, can you ask if there will be at least one new trial mod each GSM?
I will say that's not a guarantee. I will also say it's not a guarantee that we'll even consider moderators at every GSM. However, I would like to encourage people that if you do have candidates, please send them in to the staff at any point, and we will consider them at the next possible GSM. I know that in the past, in a few GSMs, there's definitely GSMs where we don't consider any moderator nominations, mainly because we don't feel the need to, or there are other more pressing topics to address. But yeah, no, if you have any nominations, please send them in and we will consider them. But again, to answer the question, no, there's no guarantee that there's always going to be one new mod. Don't count on it.
And I'd like to remind anyone watching the stream that if you would like MRT News Channel to ask the questions to the owner of Frumple, you can tweet us at MRT_News Channel or direct message Skelly in Discord.
Cool. Okay. Moving on. Submerged Subway has a question, and it's one I can't really give a good answer right now. His question is, any info on what will happen past January? So the server has not been paid. It's paid up to the middle of January. I haven't made a decision yet on whether I'll continue the server after that point. The thing is, I've already invested quite a bit in the server, and it'd be, of course, a shame to not continue it. But again, my current personal situation is not good. To be honest, it's probably getting worse at this point. So, I mean, I will say that I do have the funds. I do have the inclination. I do have the potential to continue the server. I can spend my own money to continue the server past January. Whether or not it's a good idea, or whether or not I have the motivation to continue interacting with this server, or keep managing it, that's another question entirely. So I'm not sure when I'll make a decision on that. Hopefully by December, so people don't start freaking out during the holiday season, because that'd be a kind of a weird way to go. But yeah, that's the situation. Next thing, time to make my move. I think I need to PM in game, so hold on here. So yeah, I just PM'd him. Hopefully he'll respond quickly. While that's happening, I'm going to move on to Fred. If you can ask your question as well. And SPDev, I have you in the list as well. Okay. Oh, you guys both sent your questions at the same time. So I'll look at Fred's questions first. It's a long one. I'll read it out loud here for the benefit of the recording. Last GSM auctions for companies or whatever were approved, and you said I had to send a plan of what I was going to do with MetRail, which I have not completed since I'm still planning specific details and stuff. When I do that, will it be gone over the next GSM, or will it be gone over when possible? Another thing, would I be allowed to send in what I'm going to do as time goes on, such as one thing I know I'm done with one time and then a finished thing another time? I don't particularly understand the last part of the question, but to answer your first part, no, you don't have to wait for the next GSM. Just send an email to staff just outlining what you're going to do. and the staff will pretty much approve it. Unless it's something really ridiculous, there's probably no reason for staff to reject it at this point, since we did approve in principle that you own the city and the company at this time. I'm not sure what you mean about the next part. I think you're asking whether you want to add stuff to it. I'm going to say use your own judgment with that. Like, it depends on how major your changes are. So, yeah. I'd say let's just start with the initial part that you're going to propose, and the initial part that you're going to plan, and then go from there. That's my suggestion for you right now. Cool. Thanks for the question. Now moving on to time to make my moves question. I'm reading out again this out loud. The first he has two questions. First one is, could the next two batches be combined? Or if not, when is batch number 19 started to begin?
Well, for now, we're going to be sticking with the one batch a month. So batches will be starting on the 1st and ending on the final day of the month.
Okay. Keep in mind, he can't listen in, so I'm not sure how he's going to know the answer.
Who is this? Sorry, LPM.
Time to make my move. He's not even on Mumble right now.
LPM
so.
game.
Okay. While you do that, I'm going to read the second question here. Could the rules of Senator Airfields be restated? I'm confused as to what the 7,000 block rule pertains to. Is it the tarmac only? Because people tend to have giant multi-story terminals underground in their center airfields. That's a good question. The main concern that the airfield rule is to address is to prevent any airports that take up too much horizontal space. So a good example, and I'm going to point to this one, is the MRT International Airport on the old world, which was one of our first airports on the server, and that expanded to a ridiculous space. It took about a ridiculous amount of area, and no one was really pleased with that. So that's why we have this sort of rule. So when it comes to any sort of vertical buildings in the in your 7,000 in your airfield space, we don't care. Like, if you want to do that, that's fine. And the area is supposed to can include anything. It can be tarmac, buildings, facilities, hangars, whatever. The point is, we don't care what you put in there. Anything related to your airport, you can put it in there.
I'd say don't get too excessive, just because in the future we may start having to care if you do.
Will we? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure. Can someone PM me? Would someone mind PMing him that? Just a general gist. But basically, you can put anything you want in the airfield, even vertical stuff, though if we start to see ridiculous vertical stuff, then we'll have to step in on that.
It's like throwback to that airfield on top of the St. Rue skyscraper.
And throwback to that time Kitty Cat decided to make military airports in stacks up.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully that answers questions. Oh, Fred, you have one second question? Yeah, please, yeah, go ahead and ask it right now. Oh, I see. Yeah, Skelly's notifying me that time to make my move is actually watching the MRT News Channel stream. So actually, he's getting the answers right anyway. So that's good. Cool. Fred, feel free to. Oh, yeah, there's a question. So Fred's second question is, yes, are we allowed to make non-warp based airfields?
No,
yeah.
That's an light report, is it?
That still counts as an air facility, so even if you don't have active warps there, it still counts as.
Yeah, it still counts because it still takes up the same amount of space. If it's clearly if it's just there for like I guess aesthetic purposes, then it still takes the same amount of space. So yeah, it would count under that rule. I do not endorse the MRT News channel. However, I do appreciate the work that MBS News and MRT News channel and other media outlets do to not. The radish goes in the compost. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, to be honest, like I'm actually really. It's a little weird because whenever I talk about the server to my, say, in real life friends, and I tell them, "Oh, my server has 2 media channels and one that's not, that one kind of onion-like." Yeah, it's a little weird, but anyway.
Actually, that might be a lot more than 2, considering there's a few inactive ones, and there is 3 already doing sports only, and there is another one at mine that actually does this time lapses now and then. That's kind of like
what about BNN underscore?
Sometimes.
What about BNN exclamation mark?
I haven't seen. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. SPDev, you have a question? Okay, here's SPDev's question. It's a PM to me in Mumble. Will Premier Cities be evaluated in the weeks leading up to the GSM or a few days before? I think what's going to happen is Premier evaluations are going to revert back to what we had before, for the most part. So I mean, people can still, when the batch is out, they can still look at, or when the GSM agenda is out also, they can still look at the city, see it's a candidate, and then look around themselves beforehand. But the actual evaluation will happen at the GSM, and it will be including not just the members that are attending GSM at that time, but also there'll be comments from others who may not be able to attend a GSM on there, and yeah, so hope that answers your question. Okay, I've reached the end of my list, so if you have any further questions, please PM me in-game or in Mumble, and we'll do a second round of any questions of any sort.
And if you've got any less serious ones, he'll probably take those now.
Yeah, I will allow them. Okay, here's one immediately from LD Shadowlord. Question: will I get an answer about Avella dispatch, or will I have to wait until next GSM? Yeah, no. We were thinking of doing the premier candidates at this GSM actually immediately, but we thought maybe we should wait till next GSM so people aren't surprised by it. So for this specific batch right now, Avella is in that batch, and that batch will end end of next week. End of the month. So by then you should have an answer, LD.
He's not on Mumble, I think, so I'll just PM them that.
He might be watching the stream, so
cool.
Yeah.
The stream's on like a 20-second delay, so.
Okay, I'm getting a whole bunch of stupid questions now, so let's take a look. So Crazy Rocket Guy has a question. Will Bitcoin... Oh, this is actually a serious one. Will Bitcoin donations will be allowed again? I really want to, but the Coinbase integration with Buycraft, it looks like it's not happening at all. It looks like it just broke. So I'm gonna look into other payment methods. There was actually, if I can just look it up here, I think Buycraft actually, yeah, they just announced a new integration with Xsolla, XSOLLA.
What's that do for Twitch?
Yeah, so if I can get, I've been thinking maybe I'll investigate that and see if I can figure that out. If I can, I believe they do. They do support Bitcoin and other things too, so that
means I may finally be able to donate using my using the Dutch system from the Dutch government, because that's supported via set program.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's something I'll look at in a bit. Oh, there's so many questions. Okay, so I think that might be the last serious question. Let's take a look here.
Serious question.
Let's see. Chief asks, question. Is a hot dog a sandwich? No.
There's no bread on top.
I don't think it counts as food.
Yeah, but there's no bread on top though.
That's depending on how you eat it, because if you cut a hot dog, and you literally cut the bun sideways and hold it upright for the stuff to be in it. So if you turn it sideways, it'd be a sandwich, and if you turn it upright, as most people do, it wouldn't be a sandwich.
The dictionary definition of a sandwich is very vague.
Wait, so if I hold a sandwich vertically, it's not a sandwich?
Fine, I think the point of the sandwich...
Totally,
It'll just be food, yes.
I think the point of the sandwich is that it's surrounded by two separate things, whereas a hot dog bun is one continuous piece of bread, so no.
I would like to remind you that this conversation
is considering pita bread, which is a continuous slab, is also considered to be made for sandwiches. That doesn't completely apply.
Gods, under that definition, cake is a sandwich.
Okay, I need to move.
Yeah.
Even though they're non-serious questions, I need to move on to the other non-serious questions. I'll just turn Priority's speaker back on.
To fit time in the agenda for people asking you about random shit that doesn't matter.
I expect this. Next question. LD asks, why does this server only have single ply?
Because you don't buy anymore? You just supply your own toilet roll.
Are you sure about that, LD? Because considering how many tacos I eat, I don't think single ply would be enough.
Most buildings on this server don't even have bathrooms.
Well,
by the way, it's got more bathrooms than the rest of the server combined.
Hey, I have at least 60 in my housing development.
Okay,
I have bathrooms in all my houses in Bexley.
Okay. Moving on, there's a guest. I'm not sure. I'm suspicious about who this guest is, but I'm gonna.
Is it Keep the Mail?
Subcam Salt.
It's Subway Gamer.
Why is he? Why is he using a guest account though? That seems weird.
Because he didn't want to change his main name.
Okay. Guests are weird. Okay, I'm gonna look at all questions here because we're being open and transparent here. So will the Keep the Mail Hub asks, will the MRT government endorse the torture of trial mods devoting their allegiance to the MRT?
So are you saying that will the MRT government support hazing?
No.
I think you should wait 3 months on that.
Actually, I'm going to give a serious answer to this. We don't do that. So, no. I mean, we do pick on people for at least doing at least one world at a derp of some sort, but that's about it.
Even former admins still get picked on for their world edit derps. Like me.
Now, what he's not telling you is that there's actually a secret torture chamber below Central City where all new trial mods are initiated.
No, it's actually a bat cave.
Kitty Cat, we don't need
There
your
is
fan
actually
fiction,
a bat
okay?
cave under somewhere.
Yeah, there's a bat cave under the Admod building.
Okay, moving on. Fred the Timer has a non-serious question. I'm not sure if you're going to post it anywhere, so... Oh, here it is. Uh-oh. Oh, no. If Pinocchio says, my nose will now grow, will his nose grow?
It will actually shrink. That is the one exception.
The universe will blue screen.
Blue screen of the universe. Oh no, it's a paradox. It's like the statement is false, but it's just
half of
Pinocchio
his nose will grow and the other half won't.
He is.
In one dimension, no, it's like Schrodinger's cat.
His nose will get stuck in a loop.
Well,
no, it'll be Schrodinger's cat. One universe will be alive, one it won't.
Yes, it will grow. Why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because it doesn't specify when his nose will grow, and yes, his nose will. Except if he tends to die right after saying that, he'll grow again.
Yeah, that's a good point. If he lies in the future, his nose will grow. So that is true.
So the answer
is not set now.
This has been rocket science with Otto.
Oh, Derby did.
This has been a fascinating debate, but I must move on. Next question is actually serious from LD. What is the best way to donate to the server? What takes the smallest cut? I can actually answer this, though it's not going to be the answer that you like. I'm actually going to go look at the public docs quickly.
Is it still the Stripe 1,000 up to 1,000?
It is Stripe, but we're running out on it. So So basically, thanks to Mr. Chief here, who happens to be here, we got a coupon code for Stripe, and what that basically does is we don't get charged fees for the first $1,000 that we collect.
Good job,
That said, we've collected up to $875 in Stripe, so only there's $125 left where there's no fee, and after that, then we're going to get charged. Even then, Stripe fees are still, I think, significantly lower than PayPal, which are ridiculous, to be honest. So I would still encourage Stripe for the time being, and maybe.
That's if you are using PayPal to pay with your credit card, right? That's not if you're transferring from someone else's PayPal balance.
I'm not sure exactly because I don't actually get that. I don't know. I don't get the information on my end whether it's coming from a credit card or bank account or a PayPal account. I mean, so
could I clarify?
You can.
I've had a failed startup company before.
Sure.
Yes, PayPal will always charge the person that has gets the income. It depends on what kind of PayPal account you have, but I don't know if that's still applicable. And it depends on the kind of payment and how much payment you're receiving within a certain amount of time. But it can be anywhere between 3 and 34%.
34%. Dang. That's crazy.
That would actually be the one I'd be dealing with if I had followed up with my startup company. So
yeah,
probably why it didn't happen.
Yeah, considering the volume of transactions that we get, we don't usually get any sort of variance. The only variance we get is whether they're converting from US or an international currency, and at least in the transactions that I've seen so far, for US it's I think they actually increased it a bit. It's either 2.9 or 3.7%. So there's a little something weird on it. And for international, it's definitely 3.9% plus 30 cents. So it's a big chunk. I don't like PayPal, but people kept bothering me to add it, so I added it. It's not the preferred way of paying me, so try to avoid it if you can. So
I will also add a couple of things with doing supported payments. Credit cards are easier to clear than debit cards. I know not all of you have access to be able to use an actual credit card, but if you can, those usually work a lot better. Just because credit cards can be charged in Canadian dollars, whereas debit cards usually are restricted to your home currency. Yeah, and then also when you're doing that, make sure you're not getting hit with a foreign transaction fee. Thank you.
Cool.
A quick note on that does not apply to certain European cards, which can pay in Canadian dollars, American dollars, and euros. Most of them.
Right. I mean, like I said, credit cards generally you're fine. Debit, you got to be careful.
No, that's debit cards.
Oh, nice.
General debit cards.
That's
and
cool.
part of Europe as well.
Okay, got to move on here. Still got a big backlog of silly questions here. Dragon Balloon 419 asks, and it's a big long one. I'm not sure. What do you think about the new COWAC, C-O-W-A-C project? Restore the mushrooms to bring mushrooms back to the mushroom islands. I don't understand, but good luck with that.
Also, they'll probably be dead within about 24 hours if you're advertising that.
I will just say that the MRT government has protected the mushroom island on New World, and we are dedicated to the protection of any mushroom or mushroom-based life forms in that area.
How about cows?
The mushroom cows or just regular cows?
Regular cows.
Will bovine intervention be
They are delicious. They go well in tacos.
Surely mushroom cows only enhance the flavour, or are they poisonous?
I've not tried a mushroom taco yet, but
maybe
okay.
You should.
Anyway.
Is that a notion he should be poisoned? That's not nice.
Okay. Next up, time to make my move. Ask dubs or subs. I don't understand what that means. Otto, you have a question? Is this serious or not?
No, and actually was already asked.
Okay, cool. Thomas Fife asks, fracking. Will the MRT allow this?
Oh my goodness! Okay.
I don't think there are any actual oil. Are there any actual oil rigs on the server anywhere right now? Excluding the old world.
Oh.
There is
Pretty
one
sure
somewhere.
there
I
is
saw
one.
it. Yeah.
I have
I think it's near Izumo, or how you pronounce it. I think there is one.
Wasn't it near Omricon's place?
I have a converted oil rig that's now a rocket launching platform in Fallaway.
That does not sound
Or an exploding rocket catcher.
Are you SpaceX, Thomas?
Maybe.
No, it's an exploding rocket catcher.
Frumple, if you look at the front of this booth, I'd like to propose a new MRT logo. I think you'll like it.
Oh no!
Can you?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That's too avant-garde for me.
I like it. I like it. I think it stands a chance.
I think if that logo does become the official one, that's the end. That's the beginning of the end of the server.
What are we doing for at least April Fools?
We can have that discussion later. Anyway, moving on.
Already is the beginning of the end. Where's this new logo?
There's
Moving on.
It was
moving on. Moving on. Okay. Next question. Time to make my move asks a very important question that I always wonder myself. What is the point of the United Cities?
Well, there is no answer to that because there is none.
Yes.
That's a true answer.
How about we?
The answer is yes.
Guys, how about we go to former United Cities president castle?
Or founding
The
United
point
Cities
of the
President
United
JP.
Cities is yes, there is a United Cities.
No, the point of the United
No,
Cities is the
it's
period at the end of this
inexistent.
sentence.
Okay.
What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing either. I'm just going through the silly questions you guys have asked me. Okay, so saving that. Submerged Subway has a melon. Here, okay, mute yourself. Submerged Subway has a question. Kind of serious, somewhat serious. Would you ever consider cutting costs, as in going for a subdomain like Wix or Weebly? First off, that wouldn't save any cost for me because all websites, all MRT websites are hosted on the same machine. I mean, by doing it on a separate service like that, I wouldn't be saving any money, and I'd be getting less functionality from that. So, no, I'm not going to. No, I think.
Part of the domain also includes email. Like if the domain goes away, then all the email breaks. And also, just like then we own it, so then it's easy for us to control.
Yeah. I think one of these days I might have to.
Crashed my game.
One of these days I'm going to have to maybe explain a little bit of the internal workings of how the server works, maybe. But, yeah.
They're all together on one big happy machine.
There's one big happy machine hosted in a place called Beauharnois, Quebec. No, seriously, that's the name of the place. That's where
Chinese.
That's a sketchy place.
No, it's not.
Can type in the coordinates for a nuclear weapon.
Given how long you've been with them, do you think they'll give you a personal guided tour of their facility?
Probably not, but I do know that there's a huge server farm there. That's where most of OVH's machines are. It's near Montreal. They've had some issues with their not under their control, but the fiber lines connecting there have been cut by actual maintenance crews. So that's why there have been issues before with network stuff and stuff like that. For the most part, there was a weird power issue they had where it caused all the services to go down. I had to go restart them. That happened like a few months ago, I think. But other than that, they're pretty okay. I mean, I can't complain.
Also hosted by OVH, but I don't know in which country. It's probably Europe.
Should tell you. I don't know. Maybe look it up.
It would be very cool though to have a tour of the server area. Though it's not going to happen, but still, yeah, it would be cool though, right?
So, Frumble, how about MRT merchandise and get some T-shirts?
Put that on a t-shirt.
That actually isn't a very bad idea, considering.
Would people actually buy that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I probably would
someone
just for a
wearing the
general walk
MRT
around
logo.
shirt.
You're like, oh my god, who are you?
kind of design. Just got like contests.
I mean, I know like a couple of us, like LD goes to a gaming convention in Birmingham that I'd probably go to next year. So.
And it'll be a physical memory to my time on here as well for later.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't mind an MRT mug.
Wait, which convention, Gods?
EGX.
Well, Frontier Group makes mugs for its employees.
You should go there. One of my games is on.
Oh no, yeah. Well, isn't it this? Well, it was this past weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like one of my games is on. Like it's being shown off right now.
But yeah,
Thomas, is someone like throwing bricks in your background?
No, that's coming from someone else's mic, and then it's transmitting through mine as well.
If he did though, Frumple, I would definitely. Or if he did it with Designed by Humans, I would definitely get a mug.
Okay, I will note that down. MRT T-shirt and mug. I will think about it.
Design competition for that if you actually do
You should
it.
make a billboard to recruit new members and
Not even
put it up in New York City.
Not even design contest. I'd just go for the MRT logo on there.
I was gonna say, would you?
Yeah, but like,
no, but like, make it prettier.
It can be stylized by design contest.
I'll definitely do that.
But then there's the things about consideration, how to split the profit with the person who designed it. So I mean, I don't know.
It's a thing that pretty much everyone in the community, I think, would like to contribute without earning for the money because it would be like a donation as well.
I wouldn't even want
a donation.
Like hypothetically, I wouldn't even want like anything.
Same.
Okay. There's a couple. There's only one. Well, a couple things from LD. LD has a question. Do you ever feel that you're hurting cats when you do the public portions of the GSM?
What? What?
Yes. I agree with this statement 100%. It's... You are all...
Why man have a map of his face? Where? How am I
That was creepy.
Can we not?
Do you like have a massive map in the lab world somewhere? Of your face?
I made a map of mine.
Ellie has another question, well, not a statement basically. He wants me to do a video on the cogs of the MRT. I probably won't do any video. I am definitely not in the sort of state to record any more videos or do any streaming.
Stop, please.
I think what at least I'll do is maybe post some of the code, at least that helps run the server. Like there's some bash scripts, and this is all for the programmers in the room here, but bash scripts. The status page is coded in Python. There's some Docker containers as well that are used to encapsulate all of the services in Minecraft server. I might post those onto something like GitHub maybe. It also has the advantage that I can use that to at least point to potential employers, because I kind of need a job soon. But anyway, I think that's the end of the questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
If Minecraft on the PC ever collapses, would the MRT move to the combined console mobile platform, since that's a thing now?
Sorry, you're talking about the Java edition?
If Java edition ever shuts down or collapses, Microsoft.
I don't think
would the MRT ever possibly go to a transition over to the Xbox combined Xbox PlayStation console mobile edition.
I will. Well, first off, I don't think the Java edition will be just closed off completely. I'm worried that it might just get abandoned by Mojang, which is a fairly high possibility. But I find that if they ever do that, I find that I would be really surprised at the decision, because there's still a lot of servers, existing original servers, that are using a Java edition, and there's also a big plugin. There's a plugin infrastructure. There's a bunch of plugins and additions that people have made, and if people by abandoning that, they're basically abandoning all of that as well.
Also,
so that too. So again, they might add Mac and Linux on the. They say they're going to add more additions on this new fangled edition that they're having, but who knows? As for your actual question of whether we move over there, I don't know. I probably not, because I don't see there's no plugin framework or anything to really on that new version. It'd be a lot of work to transition over.
I think if that's gonna happen, it's still years and years away. So
yeah, I was at just for your information, I was actually thinking before this new edition came along, I was actually thinking of moving away from Bucket and Spigot to a new sort of plugin framework.
Hello?
Oh, they got cut off.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Okay. It got moved. So I was thinking of moving to a different framework called Sponge. It's also written in Java. Apparently, like there's like new versions of Woolet on there and all that. It's supposed to be better, but that would also be a big jump, and I don't think I have time to consider that. There are also plugins that don't exist on that platform, so that'd be kind of not good. So anyway.
Well, if you ever switch to like anything else, the one thing that's everyone going to be annoyed about is, oh my goodness, the works are going to break. Oh no.
By the way, can we end the recording now? Because it kind of seems like we've just gone off on random.
No, I don't think so. I want to record all of this because this is a reflection of how the server is.
Years to come.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Websites in Paris. Just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah, they have a bunch. They have a whole bunch of Paris or French-based French locations for OVH. Otto, you had a question?
Yeah, what is your opinion on the new block textures that are going to be in 1.13?
Don't give a damn.
There's new textures, kill me.
For which one? Which blocks?
All of them.
In general.
Oh, that's good. I've got a
I think they
texture
suck.
pack. I've got a texture
GTLD,
pack.
I'm sure you have.
Wait,
something in
they
your medicine
released
cabinet that
1.13 info?
No.
No, it's from the progress screenshots from Mojang.
That may be just them using another texture pack to trial.
No, they have said that they are going to replace all textures.
They're updating the
Oh god,
legacy
that looks terrible.
textures.
The diamond block looks terrible.
Is someone
So
got a
does
link?
Obsidian. And the root looks like it isn't Minecraft
Next
anymore.
question.
Well, the thing is, there's no next question. So I mean, oh wait, here comes one. Time to make my move. Ask the question: what is the policy on contracts on the server? Can you be more specific with this? Like, is it in-game contracts between players?
GSM like a few months ago.
SPDev asked, did you literally stuff the entire server in a Docker image? No. Well, no. Each of the services have their own image, or they have their own container. So, for example, the main Minecraft server is in its own container. The beta server is in its own container based on the same image, which actually makes it a lot easier to manage now. The websites is in its own image. MediaWiki, file server, both Dyn maps are in their own containers. Now the status page is also one as well. There's a mail server, which is used to mainly just mail out notifications for admin purposes, but also I think it's used for the wiki as well. Though I might be wrong there.
Mail work, by the way, because like when we get it, it doesn't say forwarding from staff. It just says sent to staff.
For those things that they're not using the mail server, they're using Google's SMTP. So yeah, we have a domain called minecartrapidtrans.net. So basically, I set up mailing lists on that domain, and yeah, it just handles it for us.
Fair enough.
Okay, time to make my move as clarified his question. Like, if you say you're going to build something, how binding is contract by speech? It is not binding. I've explained this to, I think, Otto a bit, but basically, just because someone says they're going to do something that is not a promise for them to do it, it becomes more concrete if you have some sort of written documentation, preferably not something in game, but like an email or a conversation in like Discord or some chat client.
Would a game book suffice for that as well, as it has to be signed by the other person?
Possibly.
It's signed.
Like,
possibly.
Obviously, they can go back.
Hold on.
Because obviously, if they then change their mind with a written book, like, you can't just say, "Oh, but you wrote a book, therefore I've got permission for life." They can obviously still change their mind.
So, hold on. So, books, I don't think are a good way because, for one thing, they can be lost in game. But second, also, there is a command. I think it's actually enabled for members, or at least trustees, I think, where you can actually edit a signed book.
Oh, you can't edit other people's though.
Well, I mean, you can edit a signed book, but like you can't re-sign. You can like open a signed book, but you can't re-sign it as that person. So,
yeah.
Like if I have a book written by gods, I can like open it up and edit it, but then if I sign it, it'll be like signed by Kitty Cat 1231.
AKA that will be a security lock on its own to make sure all contracts are viable and legit, because the other person would have to sign the book.
I don't know why you like just ask them and say, "Am I okay to do this?" Yeah, then like this is my plan. Are you okay with this? Just do it in Discord. You've got written there.
Discord or email.
Yes, I'm fine with it. If you're that picky, take a screenshot of them saying yes in Discord just in case they Like, it doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need a whole handover period of, yes, okay, let's get our lawyers together. It just needs to be an agreement.
Now, I think LD is going to have to disagree with that. LD needs his lawyers for everything.
I think we got on a serious note. I think Gods has a good point though, because I don't like when, and in general, as I'm going to say in general, I don't like when people try to complicate things overly. If you know of the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid.
What are you calling stupid?
Well, you know what I mean. It's an acronym. Basically, just keep it simple. Like, don't complicate just for the sake of complicating things.
In some cases, that's kind of. Let's put it this way, in some cases contracts can be so important for certain purposes that if one person backs out on a certain location or a certain place in the whole network, I'd say, for instance airlines or rail transport in my case, that it could unravel the whole system. Like for instance ATC could pull out their contract for rail, completely disconnecting the north and south corridor side of the server.
All I'm saying here is you need to make an effort to try to make things simpler. And
also, at the end of the day, it's their town. They have the right to back out. Just because you want to connect past their town doesn't give you the indefinite right to go to their town.
But that's the point, that it would be possible if all parties agree to set up a contract in those kind of situations, and that wouldn't be overly...
Pretty much what Frempel's saying is you cannot legally lock people into contracts, forcing your rail line exclusivity, like I've known you've done in the past.
You can write contracts, they are not enforceable.
Yes.
If someone decides they don't want something in their town, they have to find it.
Okay, moving on. LD wants to continue the conversation, but I don't. What sort of reparations can we expect if someone breaks a contract that we don't have? Okay, we're not going to talk about contracts because there's not much else to say there. Fred has a question. I'll let him post it in Mumble. Yeah, I think I'll cut off the questions in about 10 minutes or so because we're getting up to an hour and a half of the public portion here.
This started about 4 hours ago, yeah.
Yep. So I need a break, and I do need to set up the configurations and permissions for speed and whatever else we agreed to. Fred,
I am going to head off.
See you, Thomas. Yeah. Fred asks, "Is it okay if I plow through Central City to make a huge highway interchange?" No.
I don't really.
Yeah, we did that in Spawn City on the day of the Epsilon migration.
Any other further questions, comments, concerns? Can be serious or non-serious.
I do have a serious question. Sorry.
Yes.
There are a few city stations, MRT stations in Central City that are kind of bland, like the default ones that aren't the 4 major terminuses. Would it be an idea to allow certain people or certain staff members to make the stations nicer, like the 4 terminals and the central one?
If you want to do it yourself, submit a project request and we'll have a look at it.
I will say though, the reason the terminals are the fancier ones is because they're the ones that intersect most of the lines. The other side stations are I'm even gonna say that they're kind of accidentally there because we had a different plan of how we kind of wanted to make at least one of the lines extend out from each of the terminus to keep going a little bit, but they're kind of these sort of extra stations that don't really belong there, to be honest. But yeah, again, as God said, if you want to make it fancy, make a proposal. We'll consider it. Time to make my move asks, are you allowed to build an airport on Lab World even if you aren't Senator Governor? I'd rather you not do that because you are taking up valuable space on the Lab World. Yeah, don't do that. Submerged Subway asks, Frumple, if the server was a court, was a what? This question is worded terribly. Frumple, I'm going to read it as verbatim. Frumple, if server was a courty, what would its GPA be? Okay, country. That's what you mean.
Country and GDP, I think. You're actually negative because you did more expenses into the server than
-$1. Whatever, or how much money I spent on the server so far. That's the GDP.
Well, just it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be all fine.
SPDev asks, what do I do if there's an inactive town, 1.3 years inactive, in the middle of a planned highway route? Just to be sure, SP, if you do actually have a town that you're running into, just email staff to let us know, and then we can investigate. Most likely, if it's really that inactive, we can allow you to just go through it. But just give us a heads up about that town, just so we know. Time to make my move asks, also, are the central city stations ever going to be named on Dynmap? Are you talking about the terminal station specifically? I mean, they already have names. They're called.
Did the terminals get named beyond their directions?
No, I don't know if there was a plan to do. Oh wait, I think there was.
On Dynamap, there's the terminal codes, i.e. PX, A0, but no actual Central City Northwest. Central City Southeast.
Yeah, I think there was some plan of at least the Northeast station would be called maybe like a business district or financial district station because it's close to the stock exchange and other buildings. But other than that, I don't think there are any plans to rename them. I mean, yeah, I think we need to see more development around there before making a decision on that. Dragon Bloom 419 asks, does the MRT government endorse conservation? Yes, we do endorse that you conserve your energy so you don't ask such stupid questions.
Ooh,
no, the MRT government supports conserving your energy so that you can more effectively eliminate endangered species.
LD asks, well, not so much. LD has this thing to say. Will you please plug Avella Expo December? Everyone should really go to Avella Expo December. It's in December. It's an Avella. It's an expo.
No.
I thought it was in July.
Chief Boz X asks, can I grab you privately for a second after you're done there with answering questions? Sure.
Yeah, now it's public.
I'm just reading every PM that's coming into me right now.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think I might regret this. Mike Roma says hi.
Concerning that PMs are entering you.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. I don't think there's anything left to say here. Okay, oh, hold on. There's a whole. Oh, geez, there's so much. Okay, I'm gonna do these last 4 questions, and I'm gonna cut it off here. Mercury 203 asks, can citizens build in MRT marinas? I don't know if you're talking about the official MRT marina. I think they can, if I recall. I don't think there's any restriction on people. So
I think you should talk to Tom Pears, as he owns the marina, as far as I remember.
Yeah. If you want to make sure, go talk to Tom Pears. He is the manager of the MRT marina, And you can get your answer there. Chief asks, while Taco has appeared, what will Frumple do? Fight, bag, Pokemon, run. There's no eat on there, so I don't think that's not... I guess I'll bag it and then eat it later.
Stop punching my salad.
Kitty Cat 11231 asks, press Alt F4 for a free 5-minute trial of supporter benefits.
That wasn't a question.
Well, I'm just saying things that people PM me. Submerged Subway asks, do you tap our phones? Nope. Time to make my move asks S. Mike Roma asks, can I as op? You guys are terrible. Okay. Okay, I'm not looking at... Okay, turning... Nope, I'm not looking at PMs anymore. Okay, this concludes the... Yes, this concludes the public portion of the General Staff meeting for September 23rd, 2017. The next, again, a reminder, the next GSM will be October 28th, also on a Saturday at 7 p.m. UTC. That'll be 12 p.m. PDT, 3 p.m. EDT as well.
If you're still listening, what the hell are you doing with...
You were just watching GSM special coverage on the MRT News Channel. I'd like to extend my thanks to the MRT News Channel camera team in Central City for recording the press conference with Frumple, which ended up turning long why it did. There will be more on the MRT News Report at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. And follow our Twitter for more information. Thanks for watching.